Hey homie, welcome to the sesh if you're new. If not, welcome back. Today we have a nice little sesh and chill and story for you guys today. So let's get into that. You already know we have some plant-based medicine.
Hey, this is a surprise for me too. I don't even know what kind you got.
Rolled up in a simple organic hemp OCB cone. I'm so excited for this sesh because I'm like freaked out. Okay, let's get into it though. And this week it is Steven's turn to tell the story. Cheers.
I'll let her like that. My inspiration for this story is like, I'm sure all like you guys have seen all the I don't know, like all the alien stories that have been popping up on like my news feed and stuff on, everything. So the Miami aliens was one of them that me and her, like, we went down a rabbit hole with that so much. We were going to talk about it with you guys, but we just couldn't find like a lot of evidence or anything to really put something good together. So all of those stories got me thinking, like, if there's UFO stories, there's got to be what that follows. The men in
Here
black.
come the men in black.
So what better time to cover the men in black themselves? Because, like I said, I've been waiting to hear people start coming out like, oh my God, I was visited by these weird, strange guys. So if you don't know who they are, we're not talking about the movie Men in Black. Like, not talking about Will Smith here.
No.
So like these dudes, like she said, are just straight creepy. Like always dressed in obviously all black, like black suits, black tie, black fedoras, black shoes.
They're very like fashion forward.
Yeah, they actually look, their style is actually nice. I kind of like the look of them, but
like dress for the job you want, not for the job you have.
Yeah.
Or in their case, they might have to dress that way. I don't know.
They got swag, that's all I'm saying. Not only that, but they always seem to be like, when they are like documented or anything, they always seem to be driving like pristine, all black cars from like the 50s, the 60s, Buicks, Lincolns, like stuff like that.
Like they don't want to upgrade.
Why would they? And like people say like the inside.
They're like, this is a real car.
Yeah, and they're not like they're beat up from back in the day. They look like brand new. The interior, exterior, everything is like spotless. So these dudes know how to get around in style. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, love that for them.
But if you see them, it ain't gonna be a good experience for you. I'm sure of that. Some of their characteristics, like a lot of people say, they their look is like very pale white, almost like Eastern European. Either pale white or like an almondish olive tone to them. But the more recent cases of them, people are saying like they're like pale white, no hair, stuff like that, like just expressionless.
That is so, and I think maybe that's why I feel like it's so creepy to me, because like it's like the no emotion.
Yeah,
like
very emotionless.
Ugh, it's so creepy.
Yeah, so a lot of people say like, yeah, the way they talk is not human like at all, like no emotion at all. Like it's just not something you encounter every day, and that really like creeps people out.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is like most people don't realize it until like after they're gone. Then they start getting like that uneasy feeling, like wait a minute, something wasn't right with them. But when they're in your presence, like it's weird. Like they kind of seem to go along with whatever they're asking or whatever, like even if it's out of characteristic of whoever they're talking to,
So they have like they have like that thing of, do you think is it like a mind control thing or?
Yeah, I don't know. It may be like a telepathic thing, but
yeah.
like I don't know. I think they can like kind of get into your mind, sort of like you said. Like I don't know if it's mind control, but they have a way of
kind
like
of telepathic, like
they have a way of like easing, and like letting the person's guard down, sort of, like it's very freaky.
That's manipulating.
Yeah, like very manipulative.
Red flag.
With all that being said, they don't just target anybody, obviously, because their sightings of them are very, very rare. And like, the ones that do seem to like interact or encounter these men in black, like it's very hard to get their story out after they see them. Like even if it does come out, it sort of would just like go cold after that. Like whatever they're doing, it's like they're stopping people from pretty much like reporting on them and telling them, because when you try to research this stuff, it is extremely difficult to get like you know, there's reports out there, but they all seem to be like fairly similar. It doesn't really go much further than that. It's like actually, it's still a really big mystery to this
like
day.
you go so far and then it's like
Yeah.
a stop.
Yeah, like whatever they're doing a good job at it, because like it's very creepy. So they seem to come around like after people witness like UFOs or like any paranormal event. Not just UFOs, like cryptids are a big one too. Bigfoot sightings, yeah, like stuff like that.
They come around for all of that?
Yep, there's been reports.
Oh, I thought it was just UFO.
No, it's not just UFOs.
Oh, wait.
No, it's not just paranormal. That's why a lot of people think that, oh, they only come if you see a UFO or whatever, but that's not true. There's reports of people who have Bigfoot sightings or just like cryptid sightings, mermaid sightings, any cryptid you can think of. If you see them, there's a chance in your story seems legit, there's a chance you could get visited by the Men in Black. So
oh god, because like it makes me think like, okay, who's sending them? Like, who do they work for? Like, who signs their paychecks at the end? Do they work for money? Is money of any value to you?
But here's the thing, like, who's to say cryptids are not of alien origin? So
right,
they could still be dealing with just
like
alien,
they're categorized, just it's like an umbrella term.
Yeah, like
okay.
Cryptids could be alien. You don't know where they're from. That's why they're cryptids. Like, right. You know what I mean?
I think of something that's like kind of from here, but just like mutated weirdly.
I mean, that's a theory. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Some cryptids,
I don't know.
Some cryptids may be that way, but there is some that like
you're right, from like where,
yeah, that could, pretty much anything that's unexplained, they kind of will tap into if they feel they need to. You know, if they feel like it. You know, it
makes me want to ask more questions, but
hopefully I cover all the questions you have. They pretty much come around to threaten people who like witness any sort of come around to like threaten people and
that
witnesses of like
that stresses me out.
Anybody who reports any strange occurrences or anything like that, they come around as like damage control almost and like try to like shut it down before it really reaches the masses. So, and they don't just like harass or threaten you in like a straight up way. They do it in like weird strange ways that just like leave you feeling like just with an uneasy feeling, like it make you think twice about like what you just seen, or like it makes you question pretty much everything. It sort of just like makes you look crazy almost when if you do start telling people like their story, you know what I mean?
You get so silent.
Yeah, it just like freaks you out. But like I said, a lot of these stories and people who report this just kind of go cold after everything as well. So maybe if they do start talking, maybe they're covering it up, like, because once they get a hold of you and they talk to you once, they continue to monitor you, which is something that like we'll talk about. Okay, so remember how we talked about like they're very into cryptids? That's like one of their things. Mm-hmm. It actually brings me to my first example. Back in mid 1960s, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which if you guys know, you know that's like a hot spot for cryptids. One of the most well-known cryptids, the Mothman. So, which
we will talk about.
Yeah, we should cover just the Mothman story alone one time. Just kind of like scratching the surface right here. But they are related. So, with the whole Mothman thing going on and like the sightings of like this big reptile moth that's like flying through the air in Point Pleasant in the mid 1960s. I think it was like 1965, 66, I think. Just the Mothman at that time though too, but there was a bunch of like sightings for UFOs in West Virginia at that time as well. Naturally, like people started reporting all these Mothman sightings to the local newspaper, and like one of the main reporters for that newspaper loved to like take those kind of stories because she had her own UFO experience when she was a kid. Her name was Mary Hyre, and she basically invited everybody to like send her their stories. She was one of the first people that I could find that was actually like contacted by the Men in Black, because she like was the main one researching all these UFO stories and like the Mothman story. She was like trying to get down. She was like, it was like, I guess borderline obsessed, you can call it, with it. They visited her and like attempted to prevent her from writing any more about any of these stories because she was just like causing too much of a stir, I guess, in their eyes. So, yeah, but they did it, like I said, and it's like they do it in these weird, like, strange ways. I don't know. So,
oh my god, was she terrified? I would have fucking croaked.
So one day, like, this strange little, like, person, she said was, like, extremely short, dressed all black, like, came into her office and, like, asked for directions.
To where?
Like, I don't know, they didn't say to where, but they just, like, asked for
directions.
directions. But then, like,
Anywhere.
he seemed to just be, like, looking past her and then, like, was, like, obsessed and fixated, like, on her pen that was just, like, sitting on the desk. It was a ballpoint pen. And then he just, like, picked it up and was staring at it and then just, like, started maniacally laughing and then, like, stormed out of the place before she could probably even give the directions, I'm guessing, like. And then he just, like, disappeared. Right? He just, like, disappeared after that. And so, again, she was left, like, feeling very uneasy. This was her second encounter with them. The first one, they just came in and, like, pretty much told her to stop writing or anything about anything strange going on around town, to pretty much give it up, stop researching, stop writing about it.
They, like, cease and desist her verbally?
Then, which I don't think she did. And then, so this little guy walks in. This is the second time that she sees them. And he just, like, freaks her out. She's like, what?
Like, you again.
I mean? Like, yeah.
You're gonna take my pens?
Yeah, so she thought that was the last she was gonna see of him, but she was wrong. So, like, that night, she's leaving work and she looks across the street and it's the same little short guy in all black and he's just standing there, like, staring at her. Yeah, and then, like,
hell no.
Like, trying to intimidate them, pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, and then a couple minutes later, an all-black car rolls up, like a 1950s, I think 60s Buick rolls up. The guy gets in, they drive away, and, like, she never seen him again after that. Like,
shit.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was like an intimidation tactic.
So, like I said, the stories kind of just go cold after that because they never say whether or not she kept writing or whatever, but she said she never seen them again after that. So that was it. But, you know, a lot of people feel like they still continue to monitor and, like, stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
So although, like, she never encountered them or seen them again, that, you know, she could tell, I feel like they were still watching her because, okay, I feel like they were still watching her because they stuck around town of Point Pleasant and started interviewing, like, all the people who were reporting to her, to Mary Hyre. They started interviewing them and asking them questions, pretending to work for her.
This plant-based medicine, it smells so good. It smells so earthy and gassy, and it's got me pretty lit.
So yeah, after they started interviewing all the townsfolk who were, like, reporting all these crazy things, they might maybe got the answers they needed or kind of just got everybody's word and then just kind of, like, disappeared. Nobody heard from them or seen them again in Point Pleasant anyways after that.
Weird.
Yeah. In 1976, so, like, about 10 years later, in Maine, a Dr. Herbert Hawkins was working on a UFO abduction case. And this story is even creepier. Like, I don't know if they got stronger or evolved or whatever, but
they got a pay raise.
Yeah, this guy's story, he's working on this case, like, somebody got abducted and he's, you know, researching it and everything, trying to get answers. One night he gets a phone call and his wife, his kids are everything, like, are out. He's home just, like, working on the case. He gets a phone call and it's some guy and the first thing the guy says is, like, "Are you alone?"
No conversation ends up well when it starts that way.
Yeah, like I said, out of, like, character, you seem to, like, answer their questions like that. Like, I don't know. So the doctor is like, "Yeah, I am alone, actually."
Why would you say that?
And, like, mysterious man on the other line, you know, I'm just gonna call him the Man in Black, is, like, pretends to be this president of like a UFO research, like, center in New Jersey. And he's like, "Oh, I would like to meet with you and talk to you about the case and everything." And so the Dr. Herbert is like, "Oh yeah, like, that's fine, we can do that." And then no sooner than he can hang up the phone, he gets a knock on the door and it's already the guy. He's there. Like, immediately there at the door. Yeah, like, he literally called from outside the house or something, like, that fast. And so again, like out of character, the doctor opens the door for him and the guy asks, "Can I come inside?" And he lets him inside, even though the characteristics he explains of him is just like menacing. He's like pale white. Yeah, he's like pale white skin, bald head, all black, again, black suit, black hat, black sunglasses, everything. And he said the mouth that he was talking out of was literally just like a little slit in the face, just like with like red lipstick almost around, covered as like lips. And yeah, he like looking menacing. And for some reason the doctor like again lets him in, which is like out of character. And he had a dog, the doctor had a dog who opened the door, which the dog started immediately like barking and then got scared and like ran away and hid in the closet the whole time, which should have been a red flag right there to begin with. Like, do not let this guy in your house.
Always trust the animals.
You know what I mean? But again, he lets him in, and the man in black immediately just starts like threatening the guy about his research and telling him to destroy all your research, everything, like give up the case. And pretty much like they didn't do it in like a subtle way this time. Like, what? So yeah, the doctor had like a coin in his hand, and the man in black like looked at the coin and just dematerialized it in the guy's hand, like disintegrated it, and looked at the guy and was like, "Nobody will ever see that coin again on this plane." That's what he said to the guy. And then he said,
"Oh hell no." Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah, and then he continued to say like the abductee or the UFO abductee, just like he has no heart, have no coin now, or something like that. Like, I'm just paraphrasing, but it was like close to that. I think when he did that though, he used up a lot of like his energy or his power, because like,
makes sense.
Yeah, like right after that, he said, "I have to leave the house now," and just like turned around and walked outside, almost hypnotized in some way. Like their eyes are like hypnotizing in some way almost. But he literally said, like, as he was leaving, he's like, "I'm low on energy," or something like that. "Unless I have to leave the house, I'm low on energy." I don't know if he was trying to say like, "I'm tired" in human talk, but
yeah,
like he said it like that. Then he just like turned around and walked out of the house, and then the doctor described seeing like a big bright blue light out of his window, and like the guy just disappeared after that. Like,
ugh, it's so creepy because it's such a fucking mystery. Like, where did they come from? Who do they work for? Who sent you?
Yeah.
Is it our government? Is it your government somewhere else in the cosmos? Like, what?
Orders. He destroyed all the evidence. Like, they got him shook.
Yeah.
And yeah, destroyed it. They continued to like watch him and listen. They had his like phone tapped. They had like surveillance on him, everything. Every time the guy was like a therapist as well, I guess, and like all the patients would describe like trying to call him and they couldn't get through, or like when it would just be static.
What?
Yeah, like, so they were listening in on his like phone calls and stuff. And this was in 1976, so like just imagine what they can do today, you know what I mean? Those cases were like pre-80s. There wasn't much like video evidence or anything like that, but like yeah. So I mean, I can continue to like go on about cases like that, like up until recent days, but they're all pretty similar into like as to that sense. You know what I mean?
Like they just get
like intimidated in like creepy ways, yeah, and then they just kind of like go blank. They go dark. But nowadays we do have camera footage, like cell phone footage, like stuff like that. So there has been like some recent captures of them, I guess, as like what is considered, that I know of still, as real evidence. Like it hasn't been debunked or anything like that. So one of them was in Alaska at this law firm, and you guys might have seen the video. It was like just this lady sitting at her desk in the middle of the day, and then some creepy guy dressed in all black. He has no hat on, but he's just like bald. He forgot his hat in the car, I'm not sure, but everything else was to the T.
Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, and he just like is robotically like walking in there, and she's just at her desk, and he seems like he's kind of telepathically like controlling her almost, because like he looks like he's talking to her, and she gets scared, and she like, whatever he said to her kind of freaked her out, and she did try to grab a gun, but then immediately she just like gets extremely passive, and you see the guy like just lift his hand the slightest, and she like, it's like he's controlling her, and then she like turns around, unloads the clip in the gun, puts the gun down, and just like is looking at the guy, and then they just walk out of the place together, and that's it. Like, and it's all caught on like CCTV, like camera. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that it was like a real Men in Black caught on camera, I guess. Yeah. And the way that he was like clearly manipulating her mind. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, is it mind control? Like clearly, like they have the ability to like, you know what I mean? Like affect us like mentally, physically. You know, I don't know, but like that's
physically as well, because she like leaves the place willingly. The first she grabs a gun and it's like obviously scared, and
like
then,
do they do something to our free will?
Yeah, and then it's just like willingly walks out of the place with him. And after she puts the weapon down, she's not armed or anything, and it's clearly like something freaky is going on there. You know what I mean? So that was one of the first videos I seen of a real Men in Black, I guess you could say. In 2009 in Niagara Falls at the hotel, which is like one of our favorite videos that we've seen. Like,
this creeps me
to
no end. This gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. These two Men in Black guys just come in and start like questioning this girl. They're looking for like somebody she works with. And,
the manager.
Yeah, the manager. And
something.
Like the way that they like talking to her is like so robotic and like weird and stuff, and it just like creeps her out to no end. To hear her like explanation of it when she starts talking about it is just insane. So like, she starts describing them to her manager. Like she calls the manager after and is like telling him like these two weird guys come in, like explains them to the T as like Men in Black, tall, pale skin, talking very emotionless, and like the things that they were saying to her just like didn't make sense to her. And like it started making her feel like really freaked out and creeped out, and she didn't really want to answer the questions. And then they just kept pressing her about like, they for some reason went into like government conspiracies with her and started questioning her, and that's when like she really like
like right there on the spot, like, they just bombed her with like all this stuff. She's like, I don't even know what that is.
She's like, yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, like the guy's not here. And then, so that again is on video. Or
I am so
they have video of the two guys like coming in, and then they have audio of her like calling the manager and like explaining everything and stuff like. But again, then it just kind of like goes blank after that, and it's like you can't really find much else about these like specific cases after that. They just kind of like go cold.
Like, so we can't even research like that.
You can research
into them, because what if they show up at our door and
yeah, I think that's the point of like why they do that. You know what I mean? They do a really good job apparently, because
they do. Well, that's all we have for you guys today, homies. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like this content. If you have your own spooky story that you want to submit to us, you can email it to the email in the description box below. We will read it and give you a shout out. Just let us know where you hail from. We know you have like something weird. Men in
Black encounters, let us know.
Right, like I hope you don't, but if you do, let us know.
Yes.
All right, homies, stay stoned and stay spooky. We will see you in the next sesh. Bye.
Bye.